So with that all in mind, they're going to be hitting up Watchpoint Gibraltar. I have confirmation that players are in the lobby and just as ready and rearing to go as we are. So without any further ado, I'll be handing it off to Smite and Easy to take this one away.
Very much, Pixie. Getting into a little bit of Watchpoint Gibraltar. It's been a while since we've seen this one come up here. It's going to be very exciting to see how this one plays out with these two teams, and I'm looking very forward to seeing how Default turn up in this one.
I quite like Gibraltar because there's so many different ways teams can approach it on both offense and the defense, right? On offense, sometimes teams opt for that Widowmaker and just look for picks and try and get that one crucial kill and then move in very aggressively. On the flip side, you've got defense. Some teams opt to go for that May in previous metas. Sometimes you see it pop up occasionally in this patch as well. The ice wall being very, very crucial. But again, what we're commonly seeing, both teams, a lot of teams don't deviate away from this, is dive comps. You're either running some form of counter dive if you're on the defense, or some kind of dive comp with Genji, Winston, because you need someone to get up onto that balcony, deal with the soldier, deal with the Ana, and sometimes deal with the Widowmaker.
And yeah, just introducing some of the players here. First up on attack, we're going to have Soulade, Staper, Anthony, Blind, Nomi, and Psycho going to be there for Team Default.
And Soul Gravy Train will be your defending team. It's going to be J-Doggies, Dalsu, Yang, Veka, Purge, and Color Hex.
And you want to talk us through some of these picks here? Anything sort of standing out to you on the defensive side here?
Well, the defense, right, they're running a Diva, which is, again, pretty interesting, right? Because they're already in position, so they're not going to be seeing that swapping out. That is 4 tanks. 4 tanks, that's a lot of hit points, right? You're only running 1 healer, 1 DPS. Dalsu is going to have to be on the top of his game to keep all of those tanks alive. He's picked the right character to do it, and I can absolutely keep all of those characters alive. But almost crucially is keeping Dalsu alive. Default need to recognize what's going on. They need to get someone up onto that balcony to take down Dalsu. But again, they've got mobile tanks. They've got both Winston and Diva to get up there and stop any dive.
Well, Diva giving us a little kiss there. It's surprising to see this defensive team not actually going for the car wash hold here, and they're actually going to be holding up towards that first corner. We see a lot of the Default players now already have a lot of this high ground control, but this is going to be the big one. Take an eye on the Diva and see how the Diva plays this one, but Diva's going to drop straight down to the ground as well. Ana going to be able to keep a lot of these players here alive. Now Color Hex going to be looking for some of these squishies up in the back line with the Diva here, and he's going to be going in onto the McCree, trying to find this kill here. Nice shield to block off a lot of that Fan the Hammer. And now we've got Color Hex in the back lines doing so much damage, but kills coming up all in the way of Soul Gravy Train. Very, very good play here, and Color Hex doing great work on that defense.
And Soul Gravy Train just got their mobile tanks up into the back line, making sure that there was no damage raining down upon them, and just brawled on the point. Their Reinhardt, their Roadhog, just held the payload, kept it at the corner, and they can just do this over and over and over again until Default start recognizing what's going on. They themselves need to get into their back line. The McCree is going to have a real rough time into 4 tanks. That he thrives against squishies, right?
Well, we see Blind's actually switched over to that Zenyatta, looking for a little bit of Discord Orb.
I like that because, again, it allows you to single out a target and start taking them down. With 4 tanks, you really need to get that damage boost, start taking them down. Zenyatta's one of the characters that can do that. Look at the range damage he's throwing out again. They're getting onto the payload, but again, this brawl is going to come back from Soul Gravy Train. They're going to move onto the point and really contest.
Oh, but 2 ultis up in the favor of Default there compared to just the 1 there on the Soul Gravy Train side. Still got Diva holding up the higher ground area. Does have the Winston to back him up there as well. And there's just big swings coming in there, but 2 kills now in the way of Soul Gravy Train. That's 4, and they are going to be cleaning this one up as well. Great defense again from the Train.
Yeah, and they did not, they committed an Earth Shatter to that actually, but that's going to build up the ults for the rest of the team, and now you can have a look at that. 1, 2, 3 ults. J-Doggy's coming up on his, which is going to be probably the most important one, right? Especially when you combine that with a Nano Boost. The key thing that Default needs to look for to break the defensive hold here is get Nomi up into that backline. He needs to get onto Dalsu, get onto J-Doggies, and take them out with the Nano Boost combined with his Dragon Blade. They're coming up on that, but they've only got 1.5 minutes to do it. They need to get it out correctly. Dalsu, on his side, is going to have to hit that sleep dart on Nomi and nobody else.
And Soul Gravy Train obviously will have the counterplay ready as well. A lot of ultimates sitting there for them as the fight starts coming off there. That Biotic Grenade doing very good work there. This Hog not going to be able to heal himself too well there. Rhino going to look for this kill here onto the Reinhardt, and that's going to be it. Opening it up there onto Soulade, but Blind actually did find that kill onto the Reinhardt for Soul Gravy Train, but that's not going to be enough. That Reinhardt's not going to be doing too much. That Diva ulti going to be coming in there as well. And again, another flawless hold for Soul Gravy Train. Oh, and here we go. We've got Veka going in with the Nano Boost on the Winston. Going to be staggering the spawns here, and that is perfect for Soul Gravy Train.
It's perfect in terms of buying time, but again, they committed a few ultimates to that. I feel like they could have saved a few more because now Default are coming up on a very imposing 6 ultimates. So all Soul Aids needs to do is hit 1 Fire Strike, suddenly they've got Earth Shatter, that's going to be the 6 ultimates they need. Soul Gravy Train, again, they bought a lot of time on this, but again, they still have 4 tanks. Every time that Default have gone up to this payload, they have just been brawled off it by both Purge and Yang.
And they all group up together here as they move past the car wash area, and the Divas on the higher ground there just lacing so much of these shotgun shells into the back of them, and the Staper on the McCree falling so low right now, and the Diva's going to be able to pick that one up, and this is going to be very, very hard for Default. Zenyatta ulti being used now here as well. Will it be able to keep the rest of the time there? No, he's going to be in the background. He takes down J-Doggies, but 3 kills now coming up in the way of Soul Gravy Train, and this is what they're looking for.
Yeah, Soul Gravy Train, they're finally looking to break this defense here. Again, Default, they're running a lot of tanks. It's a lot of hit points to get through, and their respawn, it's actually not too far away. They can get back in.
No, Veka does a very good job there at delaying the point. There's another nano boost coming through onto Veka now. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage here. He's done so good at holding up this point. He's going to be able to stop the Deadeye there as well, and that's looking very good now. They should be able to get back onto the point.
That forced Staper to turn around and kill only 1 person with his ultimate. Now Default have got back into position. They're brawling around the point, and this overtime is going to tick away, and it's just going to be Soul Gravy Train trickling in, and Default, what a hold on the first point with a very unique strategy. I talked about all the different ways that you can play defense on this, and Default pulled out one I have not seen.
And that's something I've never seen there as well, that 4 tank setup there, and they just showed us how hard it was for Soul Gravy Train. We did go through that entire game there, mucking up the names a little bit, but we'll deal with that one there. We take full responsibility for that, and coming up there, I think what they needed to do is they needed a Reaper.
Yeah, honestly, the McCree sticking in that for the majority of that just doesn't do enough damage. Even when you're throwing the Discord orb out, it's still not enough. You saw in most fights, he had the Diva right on top of him, either eating up his flashbangs or just eating up the damage with a huge, gigantic health pool, right? Every single time. Staper couldn't do anything. The one time he threw out Deadeye, he had a giant scientist on top of him, and he had to turn around and deal with that. He just could not get anything done against all of these tanks, and I feel like you said, Reaper could have been a better pick there.
Well, I must say, though, Default, in just looking at just their general skill rankings, for their solo queues and stuff like that, they're actually just, all of them are almost over 4,000, which is quite a big sort of difference compared to the other teams.
Veka, though, he's only Diamond.
Wow, I think he's playing a little bit of a bait there. He is the he is the flexible player there. Obviously has a range of different sort of tanks, can play that support there, Ana as well. Actually, looking at that, a lot of these players do have Ana in their top 3 picks there.
That was a good character. Does a lot of healing,
I mean, that's obviously it speaks volumes there about Default side flexibility. I feel with all of them being able to, I guess, switch around on all of these different characters here. But I feel like that was such a big game there for Yang. Yang did such a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, right? But I mean, moving into the next round, it's going to be Default on the offense this time. I'm interested to see if they do bring out the Widowmaker, right? Because Soul Gravy Train, they can look to go for a similar defense, but instead they're looking to go pretty dive heavy, I've got to say. At least with Nomi on the Genji. We see him on it so many times, but interestingly, Blind is sticking.
That double sniper.
Blind is sticking to that Zenyatta, and that's great for taking down tanks, but Default, they're not running very many tanks at all.
Well, the one issue there is obviously if J-Doggies does manage to find that early kill onto the Zenyatta, that's going to be very, very disastrous for Soul Gravy Train, having such a squishy little Zenyatta up in the back line. First shot going to be found there by J-Doggies. Not going to find that early pick, though. Just looking for a little bit of chip damage here. I really like the angle there. Doesn't find the headshot. Does about half damage there to Staper.
Key thing is, though, they have plenty of time to get the payload not a very long distance. They can just wait, fish out 1 kill, 1 pick, and then move the payload with their steamrolling advantage, right? With the numbers advantage. And again, if Color Hex can get up into that back line, start ripping them apart in the back, then again, there's not going to be any damage. They're just going to have to turn
but look
around.
In the back line there of Default. Default getting taken down, and that's going to be Yang falling very quickly to Psycho. Purge does get that trade frag there onto Nomi, and Soul Aid's doing so much damage here. Up the stairs, taking down Dalsu as well, looking for another, can't find it, but that's going to be enough to hold them out.
It's slowly inching up there. I mean, that's about the position that payload's really going to matter, right? It's at the start of that hill. And again, Default, they need to get back in there and just wait. I mean, again, more than 2.5 minutes. They've just got to wait for J-Doggies to get that crucial headshot. Once he gets his infra sight back up, he's going to be able to do that a little bit easier. But again, there's so many characters he can just headshot. In fact, I'm counting 4 on the enemy team that a headshot will just flat out kill. If you can do that, then immediately, that's when Default have to jump on the payload and start pushing it forward.
Oh, Psycho's got that graviton Surge in hand, going to be trying to hold the higher ground here. We see J-Doggies actually switch over to that Soldier as well, so they're looking for a little bit more of that consistent damage, and Psycho going to be dropping off the high ground now. Goes for that Graviton Surge, picks up 3. Oh, but the counter sound barrier, will it be enough to keep the rest of the team there alive? Dalsu picking up that first kill, but 3 kills now coming in the way of Soul Gravy Train, and they should be able to hold this one down.
Nomi has gone into the back line though, but unfortunately, it looks like default for them. They're starting to respawn, but again, they need to stop this payload. What is Soul Gravy Train doing? They've managed to defend the payload again by getting into the back line, making sure there was no damage to take down their own members, and default, they're gonna have to back off. Like you said, the swap onto Soldier means that they can't wait for those picks anymore. There's just over a minute and a half to go, which means they've got to start looking at their win conditions right now. It's not getting picks with the Widowmaker. It's now on the backs of Color Hex and Dalsu, throwing out that nano boost, making sure Color Hex can get into the back line, because again, Soul Gravy Train are running a lot of squishy heroes. Color Hex can go huge.
Oh, and Color Hex gets absolutely annihilated at the start of the fight there, and they've obviously got the Zenyatta ulti sitting there in the background as well. Purge going to be jumping up the top there, doing quite a lot of damage to the squishies, but Anthony will be the one to snipe him down as he tries to escape there, and Nomi going to be trying to push back J-Doggies right now, and again, another very good hold here from Soul Gravy Train.
And I believe that was the nano boost committed as well, so now default don't even have that to play around with, and now Soul Gravy Train with that hold, they didn't even commit ultimates to it. They've got a nano boost combo of their own. Staper can just throw out the tactical visor and just zone them off of the payload. With 1 minute to go, default have basically one more push to go. They've got, oh no, that pick onto Color Hex is huge. It happened again.
And there it is. We've seen this on the last match as well. Dying before the fight starts. That's the last thing you want to have happen there. And it looks like Default are going to try to just hold this one out a little bit, do a little bit of chip damage, keep this one alive until he can get back into the fight. But there they are. They're going to be regrouping, and this will be the final push.
Now Soul Gravy Train have options, though. They can throw the nano boost onto Nomi as well, and we've seen how effective he is, because Default are also running a lot of squishy heroes too. But again,
they opt for that two-way split there. It's going to be, they're both going to be diving onto the squishies up on the top line there. The Winston and the Genji, the nano visor coming in on Staper, and Staper manages to keep himself alive, and he's going to be doing so much damage right now. Purge dropping extremely quickly. He's gone. See you later, mate. He's been purged from the map, and now Default looking very, very in a state of bother.
And Color Hex just, he could not find what he needed to. He spent a lot of time deflecting, but again, found no good time to throw out the Dragon Blade. And now with 1 second to go, Default surely cannot find a fight on this payload. They are gasping for air,
Yang
trying
to be keeping us alive. The Graviton comes in there. Yang and Purge, all hope is on them right now. They need to just keep this payload alive, but with the spawns being so staggered, I don't think they're going to be able to find anything here. Staper going to be taking down Purge there. J-Doggy's finding that nice little trade onto the Zenyatta, but that's not going to be enough. Staper being the real soldier, it seems, doing so much damage with Becca, Dalsu, and Yang. Trying to keep the hopes alive here for Default. It's just looking like it's going to be too hard.
They are bouncing around the payload a lot. Now with the sound barrier, they may actually be able to push it a little bit. I mean, the nano boost going out onto Yang, it's interesting, and it's really what they've got to try and do here if they want to get the payload.
Oh my goodness,
yeah.
I might have spoken too soon. And Yang coming in with huge amounts of damage there with that nano boosted tracer, something we don't usually see there. If he can take this Zarya down as well, this is actually going to be great. Oh my goodness, Default, is this the second coming?
Are they going to do it? They've hacked the health back in that room because, of course, they're running Sombra to get to the payload in time. And honestly, it is just chaos around this payload. And I think Default have done it. They've broken the defense. In overtime, they're going to push the payload and defeat Soul Gravy Train on the shortest payload ride I've ever seen.
I don't even know what to say right now, Smite. This was, I thought I would completely counted them out right there. And that is, as you said, Default taking this one out. I'm actually at a loss for words right now.
So many times they were looking for their win condition, and I was talking about it needs to be the Genji, needs to get into the back line, wipe up all those squishies, and that was the case for both teams on that last round.
All right, here we're going to see that play of the game from Nomi, though. He was doing quite good work there, but I feel this was quite a good one here. Manages to hit that Dragon Blade, the Graviton there, pick up 3. I think he picks up a 4th here as well. That's going to be another one there, and maybe the 5th even with the Dragon Blade.
I mean, the fact is, they were running squishy players. That's basically what you can do. And Nomi did it so many times, but crucially, in that overtime, they just flooded the payload. They had 3 very mobile characters who just managed to dance around the payload, including a Lucio. They threw out a sound barrier in time just to survive. And they knew, they had to swap to all these awkward characters like Sombra, even just to get to the payload in time. They managed to do it. And Soul Gravy Train, I feel like, I honestly don't know how they didn't manage to clean that up.
I mean, I'm so surprised. The whole Tracer coming through with the nano boost there at the end, I thought, no, that's surely not going to work. You know, they're going to be able to just take her out so very, very quickly. But, I mean, great play there from the Tracer at the end to sort of get those very, very important kills to keep them alive. And not only keep them alive, but to actually give them the win.